just to recap part one. In part one, we looked at weather and AI and aggressiveness. ACC has the best weather. I don't think there's really any question about it. There's 7 different levels of weather, 4 rain levels from light to storm. There's 2 no rain levels and a custom level. Very sophisticated. You can just really have a lot of control over the weather. And that's available at all 19 tracks that are available in the game. You also can set the time of day at any time in the 24 hours on ACC. So that's a pretty cool feature. Forza 7 has rain at some tracks. It has nighttime at some tracks. But it's just much more limited. The one thing about ACC's weather is it does bring a level of complexity into the game that Forza doesn't. I mean, Forza, you can just select rain or night or day. Like I say, only the tracks that have night and or rain is that an option. So that ACC, I think, is the better by far for weather with all the variety that it has. AI and aggressiveness, again, I think ACC does a better job here. It has AI is set from 80 to 100. Aggressiveness is from 1 to 100. AI has better AI driving skills at lower levels than Forza 7 does. Forza 7's lowest level, I believe it's called New Racer. The drivers are just plain lousy. They're bumping into you a lot, and that's even with the aggression turned off. They're bumping into you and driving off the track and a lot of things like that. They're just very, very poor drivers. And then when you crank those 2 levels all the way to the top, aggressiveness and AI in Forza, you've got much better drivers. They're not very aggressive still. I didn't really notice much difference between the aggressiveness on and aggressiveness off in Forza. But at Unbeatable, which is the top level in Forza, they are very good drivers. They, however, are not unbeatable, even for me. Some of them are pretty much unbeatable. I can't catch them. But others I am faster than. So there's that. ACCs, if you crank it all the way up to 100 on both aggressiveness and AI, you've got some serious competition. I mean, I can't begin to beat them. They are super good. They are super aggressive. They will fight you tooth and nail for position. They will utilize parts of the track, using the phrase track loosely, to pass you. Yeah, so they are top notch. So I think that sort of sums up the AI aggressiveness. Again, I'd give the nod to ACC here as well. In part 2, we looked at pit stops, graphics, and gameplay. Gameplay being sort of the wow, the fun factor, if you will. Pit stops, ACC is much more detailed. It has a lot to do with race strategy, particularly if you're not in a sprint race or a quick race. There's fuel considerations, there's tires, tire changes that need to be made as your tires wear out. There is dry tires and rain tires depending on the weather. There are driver changes. So like I say, a lot of that plays into the strategy of the game. And be that a good thing or not, because it does add a level of complication to the game, having to manage all that. Forza 7 has what's called quick stops. However many you choose, 1, 2, 3, whatever it happens to be, you just have to make them. There's no consideration of changing your tires. There's no consideration of fuel. Everything is completely automated. Automated to the point of as soon as you pull into the pits, into the pit lane, your car is taken over and you are driven down to your pit, into your pit. Whatever happens while you're in the pit happens. Your car is kind of locked up for a given period of time. And then you're driven out to the track again. All automated. You have nothing to do with it. Pretty much a hands-off kind of deal. It's a little bit of a stunning thing when you get to the end of the pit road. You're on the track and you have no warning of it. You just better be ready to be driving again. Graphics, I'd give the nod definitely to Forza 7. The cars, the scenery, the trees, the spectators are all just top notch. They look really, really good. The fans are waving flags and things alongside the track. ACC, on the other hand, is has very good vehicle graphics. The fans are very two-dimensional. It looks sort of like a pandemic crowd where they wanted the stands to look like there were a lot of people in them. So they bought a lot of cardboard cutouts and populated the stands with them. Trees are sort of two-dimensional until you get up, until they're closer to you alongside the track. Things like that. There's little touches that Forza has, though. Like if you go into a corner, you lock up the brakes and skid. You'll leave skid marks that will be there the next time you come around on the track. The mirrors in Forza are really, really crisp and sharp. You've got a regular rear view mirror and a side view mirror. They're super crisp, super sharp. ACC has good mirrors. There's a rear view mirror and then a rear view camera mounted in the dash. They're both very, very adequate. They both have a kind of a pixelated look when the cars are a little bit distanced back. When the cars get close enough to you, they become very crisp and sharp, but they're still more than sufficient for what you need. So that sort of sums up graphics and pit stops. ACC versus Forza 7 Part 2, Introduction Part 3. Now we're going to talk about gameplay. Gameplay is super subjective. It just depends on what you want, what appeals to you. ACC is all business. It's all about GT racing. You have championship, career, multiplayer, and single player. Those are your choices. They're very, very in-depth. They're very good, but it has a really a all about business kind of feel. It's all about racing, which is sort of funny to say, since they both are auto racing sims, but ACC is just all about business. Forza 7 has the Forza Drivers' Cup. You can earn credits, get cars, get driver suits, things like that. The Drivers' Cup also puts you in a lot of different positions, different vehicles as you go through it. Of the 700 plus cars in there, you'll experience a wide panorama of cars in the Drivers' Cup, which it's kind of fun. It puts you in different tracks all around the world. It's very cool. It's a lot of fun. Like I say, it's just sort of a different approach to it. It has more of a fun feel. Forza 7 also has a huge car selection, like I mentioned, over 700 cars. That's a big plus, but it also carries some baggage along with it, in that the cars aren't as accurately modeled, I don't believe, as they should be. But I think it'd be an impossible task to model accurately 700 plus cars. ACC again is very focused. It has 42 cars, 31 GT3 and 11 GT4 cars. They span the 2018 to 2020 series. They have very sophisticated modeling, math modeling that is built into them, that does tire grip, suspension, aerodynamics, engine behavior, things like that. You have a lot of setup options, very sophisticated, and might I add complex setup options. So I think, if you're looking for variety, Forza is the way to go, Forza 7. If you're looking for accuracy and you like GT cars, which happens to be my favorite, I think you're best off with ACC in that case. Liveries. That's another thing that Forza excels at. They have a very comprehensive, if complex and awkward to use at times, tool to design your own liveries. ACC is a much more limited design tool. You can do some pretty cool stuff, but you don't have nearly the variety and flexibility that Forza 7 has that way. But it only has limited use. You can only use it offline, the custom liveries, and under certain conditions. So gameplay is really about what you want. You have to just sort of look at the two of them and see which of those approaches to this, all business or a little bit more fun, accuracy or a bigger variety of cars, plays into it. So I think that's just something to keep in mind. So in summary, there's no winner or loser. Like I say, when we first started out to do this, had a sort of like in our heads what we're going to do. It was going to be a versus kind of thing, and we realized that it's going to be just a comparison because they come at it so differently. So like I said, there's no winner or loser. ACC, as I've mentioned a couple of times, is very focused. It's all business. It's all racing. Forza 7 has a much more fun game-like approach to it with the driver's cup and things like that. Some of ACC's features that make it an outstanding sim also bring complexity in. So that's something to keep in mind if you're looking to just have it a little bit more simpler. Forza leans that way definitely. But some people, myself included, I like the complexity. I like the setups. I like all that kind of stuff. Forza 7 has a lot more tracks. It has 32 with over 120 variations of those 32 tracks. ACC has 19 tracks. One other thing though that ACC has on its tracks, they're laser scanned. So they're super accurate, super faithful to the actual track itself. Both offer assists. ACCs are very limited. Forza's are much more extensive. They include things like braking assist. They include things like steering assist, which is maybe a help to get going. But again, if you're looking for a sim, accurate sim, you're not interested in that. But you also are going to be not interested in some of the assists in ACC. But they do both have assists. ACC has a very detailed and complex setup system. Just the sheer number of things that you can adjust in the car is amazing and very complex. And it's a real learning process to get it done right. So bottom line, ACC feels way more like a race car. It's been a long time since I've driven race cars, like a really long time. What ACC feels like is much closer to what driving a race car at speed feels like than Forza. Forza is a lot of fun, but it just doesn't have the feedback. It doesn't have the reality. It just doesn't. I guess one way I can sort of sum it up is when I race in ACC, by the time I'm done, I'm sweating. I mean, and it's not because of a physical exertion. It's just, it brings the reality and the tension into it in a really, really solid way. Forza 7 just has a lot more fun features to it, if you will. It's more of an auto racing adventure. Like I said, there's no winner or loser here. It's just a matter of what appeals to you. Hardcore sim, which ACC offers much more of, or just a fun sim with a lot of variety and things like that. So that pretty much wraps it up. We really enjoyed doing this two-parter. Hope you got some real good value out of it. Below we have links to all the equipment we use to video, to all our sim racing equipment. We've got a link to a spreadsheet, a Google sheet we put together that does sort of a side-by-side comparison of ACC and Forza 7, and some other links that are helpful and have information about ACC and Forza 7. We know Forza 7's been delisted as of this time. Yesterday was its last day. But it's still available as a physical product. So you can still buy it. You can probably get a pretty good deal on it. When the new Forza Motorsport, the successor to Forza 7, is released, sometime hopefully in early 22, and ACC's console update, which drops on February 24th, 2022, when those are both out, we'll do another side-by-side and see how those two products stack up against each other. And like I say, anything we have links below is a product we believe in, we endorse, and we're never going to put a link to anything that we don't trust and believe in. Yeah, it's a promise from us to you. So if you got some value out of this, please like it and subscribe down below, and we'll see you next time on Sim Racer's Journey.